I used to believe in turbulence, the kind you experience on a plane. Shaky, unpredictable, makes your stomach flip, but usually ends in a safe landing. Turns out, real turbulence doesn't come from jet engines. It comes in the shape of your wife saying, "I'm exhausted. I need a break," and booking a one-way flight that didn't include you or your 2 kids. Let me rewind. We weren't perfect. No one is. Our marriage had hit that post-honeymoon phase where you either build something stronger or slowly suffocate under the weight of each other's silence. I thought we were doing okay. Bills paid. Kids healthy. I'd started cooking once a week. I even read one of her favorite books. Well, most of it. There were dragons. Then one morning, she came into the kitchen wearing leggings I hadn't seen in months and eyes that looked past me. She sighed, like a woman delivering bad news to a stranger, and said it. "I need space. I feel like I've lost myself. I'm exhausted, Logan. I need to go somewhere and just breathe." I thought she meant a spa weekend. Nope. By 4 p.m., she had a suitcase packed and a flight booked. She kissed the kids goodbye, just the kids. Not a glance in my direction. No hug. No, "we'll talk soon." Just a forced smile and a painfully staged, "be good for daddy." She left me standing on the porch, holding a half-loaded dishwasher and 2 kids who thought mom was just going on a business trip. That's when I realized something. This wasn't a break. It was an exit. The first week after she left was quiet. Unnaturally so. Like the eye of a storm where everything holds its breath before reality rips the roof off. I held it together for the kids. Breakfast got made. Lunches packed. Tooth Fairy remembered. Barely. I even braided my daughter's hair with the confidence of a man watching a YouTube tutorial at 3x speed. At first, I believed her. I told myself she just needed time, like she said. That she'd come back tanned, detoxed, and maybe armed with a few yoga poses and an apology. But then the postcards started arriving. Yeah, postcards. From places we'd never gone together. Tulum, Mykonos, Bali. Each one signed with some generic nonsense like, "Finding myself. Tell the kids I love them. XOA. I stopped reading after the one with the infinity pool and the handwritten quote. "You can't pour from an empty cup," which is rich coming from someone who shattered ours and filled hers with tequila. But I kept my cool. I had mouths to feed and hearts to protect. I told the kids mom was doing some big thinking. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, because that's what men like me do. We give grace even when we get grief. Until the kids started asking the hard stuff. Why hasn't mom called? Is she sick of us? Did I do something bad? No, kid. You didn't. She did. That's when I stopped playing soft. I started tracking things. Bank charges. Flight records. A couple of emails I was never supposed to see. And it all started lining up into a story I hadn't been invited to read. One with a very special code-author.it happened on a Tuesday. You never expect your life to flip on a weekday. Tuesdays are too boring for betrayal. I was cleaning out the kids' art drawer, something that looks like a cross between a glitter factory explosion and a raccoon nest, when I found it, a folded printout of an itinerary. No big deal, I thought. Maybe it was from a trip we took last year. Nope. It was dated 6 weeks ago. Departure, Los Angeles. Arrival, Santorini. 2 names. Hers, and someone named Trevor Mendez. Trevor. You ever meet someone whose name just sounds like he moisturizes in other people's chaos? I sat down. The kids were in the next room watching cartoons. I stared at that paper like it was a punch I hadn't seen coming. But that wasn't the knockout. That came when I opened our shared cloud account, a digital graveyard of honesty. Photos. Dozens. Her on a boat, drink in hand, sun-kissed like betrayal was a vacation package. Trevor, mid-30s, sleeveless shirts, permanent tan, the kind of beard that says I consult for tech startups and destroy families for sport, had his arm around her in nearly every shot. They weren't hiding. Not even a little. Hashtags like hashtag freedom, hashtag soul journey, and my personal favorite, hashtag grateful. Grateful. While I was explaining to a 6-year-old why mom forgot her birthday. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just poured a glass of something strong, sat at the kitchen table, and stared at the calendar. She left me with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a note that said, "I just need time to think." Turns out, she was thinking on a yacht in Greece with Trevor. And that was the night I made a silent decision. She may have flown off, but if she ever came back, there'd be no warm welcome. Only silence. And a new set of locks. They say grief has 5 stages. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Me? I went straight to administration. I opened a spreadsheet. While other men might spiral, I built a folder password protected named Custody and Consequences. It had subfolders, labeled tabs, color-coded evidence. If my marriage was a plane crash, I was the FAA investigating the black box and preparing a very detailed report. Because I had 2 children under my roof who thought their mom was just resting. Because I had a home to maintain on one income. Because she decided to disappear and someone had to stay. So, I did. Not just out of necessity, out of spite. And let me tell you, there's no fuel quite like spite when it comes to getting things done. The first thing I did was stop responding to her emails. Not the ones about the kids. I still answered those. Civil, polite, surgical. But the personal ones? Like the one that read, "I feel like I'm finally starting to rediscover myself. It's beautiful here. You should try something like this someday, Logan." I didn't reply. Because there's no appropriate emoji for, "I hope you step on a sea urchin," spiritually. Instead, I started scheduling things. Legal consultations, therapy for the kids, and a little for me. I even had a long chat with an old friend who worked in family court. The man owed me one. I had helped him move during a breakup. We all remember who helped us carry the mattress, right? He gave me everything I needed to know. About primary custody, about abandonment, about parental rights and how quickly they fade when you treat your children like emotional carry-ons you forgot at the gate. Meanwhile, life went on. Morning routines, peanut butter sandwiches, Dad, I think I swallowed a Lego, and other assorted chaos. I learned how to braid hair with a pencil and a prayer. I learned how to fake confidence at parent-teacher conferences. I learned that you can cry while loading a dishwasher, as long as you time the sniffles with the rinse cycle. The kids started sleeping better. So did I. Funny thing, when the source of tension leaves, the air clears up. You start breathing again. At first, you feel guilty about it. Then you realize, peace doesn't mean you've moved on. It means you've moved forward. 6 months went by. No child support. No offers to help. Just yoga selfies and blog posts she shared about her healing. She had become a walking cliché, tanned, cleansed, and completely unaware that real enlightenment doesn't involve ditching your family for a man who wears thumb rings. And then, just like that, she came back. I was in the front yard, patching up a busted sprinkler, when the Uber pulled up. Out stepped Ashley, my wife. Well, formerly. She wore flowing linen, oversized sunglasses, and an aura of smug calm usually reserved for influencers and cult recruiters. "Logan," she said, as if we were reuniting at a wellness retreat. I didn't stand. I just nodded. "Ashley." She smiled. "I'm home." Home. As if she had left for a long Target run and not half a year of sun-drenched betrayal. She looked around, like someone reviewing a vacation rental. "This place looks good. You did a great job holding things down." That's when the kids came out slowly, cautiously. They looked at her like she was a substitute teacher. A little curious. A little distant. A little like, "You don't smell like home anymore." She knelt down to hug them. They hugged her back, but it wasn't the tackle sprint hug of kids who miss their mom. It was polite. One even glanced back at me, checking to see if it was okay. She stood and turned to me. "We should talk." I nodded again. "Sure. Right after you find somewhere else to stay." She blinked. "Excuse me." I stood up then, pulled out the keys from my back pocket and jangled them. "New locks," I said. Her brows furrowed. "You changed the locks?" 6 months ago. Her voice wavered, just slightly. "Logan, this is my house too." I shook my head. "No, Ashley. It was our house. Then you left. Now it's mine. And more importantly, theirs." She looked down at the kids again. The warmth drained from her expression. "You don't get to do this." "I didn't," I said, pulling out an envelope from the mailbox. "The court did." She took it, hesitated, opened it. Her lips moved silently as she read the words. "Petition for restriction of parental rights." She looked up at me like I'd slapped her. "You're suing me?" "No. I'm protecting them." She took a step back. "You vindictive bastard." There it was. The real Ashley. Not the linen-clad lotus eater, but the one who had once called me boring while packing for a beach weekend with another man. "You left," I said, voice steady. "And not just me. You left them. No calls. No child support. No visitations. You took a sabbatical from motherhood and expected us to wait." "Sorry. We moved on." Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked smaller now. Not broken. Not apologetic. Just shocked. like a chess player realizing they'd been outmaneuvered by the piece they thought was disposable. "I just wanted to feel like myself again," she whispered. I nodded. "Well, congrats. You found yourself. Just don't expect us to get lost for you again." She left that day. No goodbye hug. No dramatic sobs. Just the sound of retreating footsteps on a driveway that no longer belonged to her. And that night, for the first time in a long time, I slept with both eyes closed. Because the door was locked. The house was mine. And the revenge? Oh, it hadn't even started yet. I always thought revenge was loud. Explosive. Something out of a bad action movie, screaming, smashing, maybe the occasional car chase. Turns out, real revenge is boring. It's paperwork. It's timestamps. It's waiting patiently while someone who thinks they're the hero keeps talking themselves into being the victim. After Ashley's return, which lasted all of 19 minutes, she did what I expected her to do. Lawyered up, leaned into drama, and started spinning a new story. According to her, she hadn't abandoned the kids. She'd been reconnecting with herself. She was healing, not hiding. And her absence? That was an act of self-preservation. A brave one. Translation. She dished her family for 6 months, and now that the party's over and Trevor's 10 lines have faded, she wants her old life back. But she didn't come back for the kids. She came back because Trevor dumped her. See, while she was away eating mango slices on an influencer's diet and posing on cliffs with filtered wisdom quotes, I've been doing recon. My friend Colin, a divorce attorney with the bedside manner of a guillotine, helped me dig. Turns out, Trevor wasn't just a fling. He was a Plan B. And when Plan B ran out of patience for being a single stepdad to kids he never met, he ghosted her like a bad investment. I'd have felt sorry for her if I wasn't busy removing her name from every joint asset like I was doing exorcism paperwork. So now, Ashley wanted shared custody. Suddenly, the woman who disappeared mid-school year without so much as a birthday card wanted to be called mom again. She even tried to FaceTime the kids twice a week. The first time, they stared at the screen like it was a live museum exhibit. The second time, my daughter whispered, "Can we hang up now?" But that didn't stop Ashley. She launched what I like to call Operation Redemption Ark. She showed up at the school once with organic cupcakes, introduced herself as the kid's mother, and got side-eyed so hard by the PTA they probably needed chiropractic appointments. She wrote me emails like, "I'm ready to co-parent. Let's do this for the kids." She forgot the part where she left the kids for half a year while gallivanting across Europe with a man who unironically wore scarves indoors. But sure, now she was ready. Here's where it gets fun. In the state of California, God bless its cold, meticulous legal codes, parental rights can be limited when a parent voluntarily abandons their children for more than 6 months without contact or support. I had emails, voicemails, screenshots, even the school's attendance records where I had to sign "Mother Unavailable" on every single field trip form. I presented it all. Colin filed the motion like a man handing over a loaded weapon with a bow on it. Ashley's lawyer, some guy named Trent, who looked like he moonlighted as a reality TV host, tried to claim emotional hardship. She needed time, he argued. Mental health matters. To which my attorney replied, mental health is real. So is legal abandonment. Let's not confuse the two. Courtroom silence. Ashley blinked. The judge took notes. Then came the kicker. Colin presented financial records. I hadn't touched our joint account since she left. I'd paid for school, groceries, utilities, everything. Ashley? She'd used our savings for her little sabbatical, booking resorts, yoga retreats, and one especially overpriced underwater hotel experience in the Maldives. You ever see a judge's eyebrows rise mid-hearing? Chef's kiss. When the judge ruled, it was short and sweet. Primary custody remains with Mr. Logan Carter. Mrs. Carter is granted supervised visitation for 6 months. Reassessment pending review. Ashley looked like someone had just unplugged her soul. Outside the courtroom, she stormed up to me like I owed her something. "You think this makes you a better parent?" she hissed. I didn't flinch. Just looked her in the eye and said, "No." Staying did. She opened her mouth to reply, but nothing came out. And that, my friend, is the sound of someone realizing the consequences didn't come from an enemy, they came from the mirror. Back home, the kids were watching cartoons and eating frozen waffles because some nights, that's what winning looks like. My son looked up and asked, "Did Mom leave again?" I paused, then said, "No. But the judge told her she has to earn her way back in now." He nodded. Good. He didn't ask for details. He didn't need them. Weeks passed. Life moved forward again. slower, steadier. The kids stopped asking when she'd visit. They started laughing more. I started sleeping better. But I wasn't done. Oh no. Because Ashley had left a mess behind, emotionally and financially. And while I'd handled the emotional fallout, there was one more thread to cut. Revenge. The legal kind. The kind you can frame. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I served mine itemized, stamped, and sent via certified mail. It started with a spreadsheet. Like all great takedowns do. Ashley's abandonment costs. Logan Carter, primary custodian, still has knuckle skin from raising 2 kids solo. Columns. Date. Expense. Reason. Paid by. First entry. January 3rd, $47.83. New school shoes for Olivia, because someone left during a growth spurt. Paid by me. Last entry. June 28th, $612.20. Emergency dental for Jackson. Bike versus sidewalk. Sidewalk 1. Paid by me. In between? Everything from flu medication to summer camp to a late-night Uber when Olivia had a stomach bug and I forgot milk. 6 months. 0 contribution. Not a dime from the woman currently trying to reclaim her maternal voice. So I did what any composed, mildly vengeful ex-husband would do. I had my lawyer send her a formal reimbursement request. $9,684.27. Broken down. Categorized. With receipts. Now, I didn't expect her to write a check. This wasn't about the money. It was about the message. You don't get to abandon your family like a bad movie and come back expecting applause during the credits. There's a cost to playing ghost. Ashley responded 2 days later. Subject line. Unreal. You're really billing me. Her message? A masterclass in delusion. Logan. I can't believe you'd sink this low. I was in crisis. I needed to heal. I didn't ask for you to take care of things. You chose to. This is toxic. Also, your numbers are inflated. $64 for craft supplies? Really? I didn't reply. She was right about one thing. I chose to take care of things. Because someone had to. But I made a choice that night. Right after I finished rechecking every dollar in that spreadsheet for accuracy. I chose to go further. Here's what people forget. Family court has layers. Everyone sees custody as the war, but finances? That's the siege. So I launched phase 2, financial fallout. Filed a claim for back child support. Filed for sole legal custody. Filed to have her removed from all joint assets, including the car title and the secondary savings account she forgot I even had access to. Then I posted a listing for our shared car, the one she left behind. Gave it a deep clean, took some photos, and added a tagline that read, "One owner SUV. Reliable. Doesn't leave unexpectedly for yoga retreats." It sold in 2 days. Ashley called. Furious. You sold my car. No, I said. I sold my car. You abandoned the loan and the title. Judge signed off. You got the notice. You're petty. No, I'm precise. She hung up. The next time she showed up for her supervised visitation, she wore sunglasses. Indoors. Like she thought if the kids didn't see her eyes, they wouldn't see the guilt behind them. The session lasted 48 minutes. Olivia refused to talk. Jackson asked if she remembered his birthday. She didn't. She brought cupcakes. They left them untouched. After that visit, I got another email. Subject. Let's call a truce. Ashley's offer was simple. She wanted me to stop the paperwork. She'd back off from trying to change custody, for now, and we'd handle things privately. No more public mess. No more court. She even said she'd consider a reasonable contribution to the kids' expenses if I agreed to call off the claim for back support. I read it twice. Then once more, just to let the irony soak in. She wanted a clean exit from a fire she lit. And now, she was asking me to stop fanning the smoke. I didn't respond for 2 days. Then I sent back one sentence. Peace is earned, not negotiated. Let me tell you something about men like me. We don't chase revenge for the thrill. We don't want chaos. We want accountability. We want to look our kids in the eye and say, when someone disrespects you, you respond with dignity, with structure, and if needed, legal action. Ashley didn't reply again, but her lawyer did. They offered $3,000 as a settlement. We declined. My lawyer said, "You're playing the long game." I nodded. No, I said. I already won. Now I'm just collecting interest. The next supervised visit? Ashley didn't show up. No email. No call. Nothing. The kids asked where she was. I said, maybe she got tired. Jackson shrugged. She always does. Olivia went back to coloring. And I realized something. This was no longer about revenge. It was about reclamation. 6 months ago, I was standing on a porch watching my wife fly away with a duffel bag and a list of complaints about her life. Now, I'm standing in the same house, same porch, but the locks are changed. The mortgage is mine, and every room inside is filled with peace. Not the kind you beg for, the kind you build. Ashley did what all people do when reality hits harder than expected. She tried to rebrand. From fractured to free, one woman's journey to rediscovery. Let me give you a taste. Sometimes the bravest thing a woman can do is walk away. Society doesn't understand how hard it is to say, I need space, when the world demands self-sacrifice. She wrote about healing, about toxic masculinity, and about how she left a life of obligation to find peace in Peru. No mention of the children. No mention of the husband she ambushed with custody papers and kombucha guilt. She posted a picture of herself in a white dress on a cliff, arms wide, captioned, "When I let go of expectation, I found my wings." I read that while folding my son's socks and scraping dried mac and cheese off a plate. No wings here. Just dishpan hands and custody documents. But her blog? It gave me an idea. A man's not supposed to fight dirty. But when someone throws your name under a bus, you reserve the right to build a better one and drive it yourself. I printed screenshots. Her blog, her captions, her public statements that kids can survive without their mothers. It builds resilience. Then I attached all of it to my updated case file for full legal custody without visitation. My lawyer submitted it to the judge with a note. The petitioner respectfully requests that the court consider the respondent's published materials in determining maternal fitness. I didn't even need to editorialize. Ashley did the heavy lifting. The court date was quiet. Her lawyer tried to argue freedom of expression. Mine countered with, she's using these children as stepping stones to market her online brand. This is not parental reflection, it's public exploitation. The judge, bless his tired, caffeine-stained soul, looked at Ashley and said, "Your digital footprint says more than your sworn testimony." He ruled. Sole custody awarded to Mr. Carter. Supervised visitation suspended indefinitely, pending further review. She cried. Real tears. Not for the kids. For the fallout. Because in the span of 6 months, she'd gone from linen-clad wanderer to publicly documented absentee parent with a Pinterest aesthetic. It came late on a Tuesday. Always a Tuesday. Ashley called. Her voice was quiet. Different. "I read your blog," she said. I hadn't written a blog, but I had posted something, a long, quiet letter on a local fatherhood forum. About raising kids solo. About betrayal. About showing up. She'd seen it because someone shared it with her. Probably someone who remembered she used to show up with cupcakes and hashtags, and now just had hashtags. "You made me sound like a villain," she said. I paused. "I didn't use your name. You didn't have to." She wanted me to say sorry, to offer some shred of softness. But I didn't. I didn't gloat either. I just listened to the silence on her end. "Do they hate me?" she asked. I took a breath. "They don't hate you," I said. "But they stopped waiting for you." She started to say something, then stopped. She hung up. That was the last time she called. A year passed. The kids grew like weeds, like sunflowers. We went on road trips, painted our living room, burned the last of her essential oils in a backyard bonfire, and toasted marshmallows over the sin of eucalyptus enclosure. Olivia learned to ride a bike. Jackson told me one night, "I'm glad you're the one who stayed." And that was the full circle. The final nail in the coffin of guilt. Not rage, not revenge, just recognition. I didn't just survive betrayal. I built a better life in spite of it.